Well, you got your Moore's laws, right? So you've got, at the same price point, it'll be 4 or 8 times as powerful, whatever that means. But more than likely, it'll mean that there'll be cheaper, way cheaper ones. It really depends on the app design. But I think we might start to see an awful lot more interesting form factors. I think the pocket watch might come back. I hope so anyway. I quite fancy a pocket watch one. Yeah, it's the Apple Watch. Yeah, absolutely the Apple Watch, right? We have seen the same critical sort of arguments used against these products over the past 10 years. They're too expensive, they have no real use, they're sort of elitist, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're really expensive, absolutely. The iPod was incredibly expensive for what it was when it launched as well. The iPhone was incredibly expensive for what it was when it launched. I think the thing about Apple products specifically is that there are many things. They come with a really amazing ecosystem. A huge number of people already have iPhones, and so there's an easy install base there. They're gorgeous things, and you go to Apple stores to buy them. All the other wearables at the moment, and this is my biggest problem, I think, with wearables, is that the retailing of wearables at the moment, other than by Apple, is beyond incompetent. I think we're going to see some really interesting brands coming out of China that normal people have never heard of, which will be really great. Same for phones as well. Like I think Xiaomi, the Chinese phone brand, will be huge when they arrive. If I was Samsung, I'd be properly scared. And I think maybe a surprise for people will be the social change that's brought about by them. Once a device like an Apple Watch, has gone through a couple of Moore's law cycles and has become less than 100 quid, so it means that basically everybody has one, or certainly all teenagers have one, right? It'll be like Facebook in that it will be very difficult for a whole generation to imagine the world without it, and all of the social shifts that will come from that. And those social shifts will be so embedded in culture, so deep as to appear banal, as to appear to everybody else to be completely trivial, but be actually really, really fundamental. And so I think in 5 years' time, certainly in 10 years' time, when we look back and we go, oh, what just happened, we'll find that there's a whole load of behaviors that we can't predict today, which would become 100% unremarkable in that 10-year period, that actually, when you think about it, are deeply weird. Well, one is that there isn't necessarily a thing as the mass market anymore. What's a mass market thing? Difficult to say, really. Phones in general are pretty mass market, but other than that, like cultural things aren't necessarily mass market anymore. Battery life might be an issue, obviously. Complexity of user interface. The banality of many people's lives. Social backlash. But I think all of those things are surmountable, and I think all of those reasons are things that we now have practice surmounting. There would have been much stronger arguments 10 or 15 years ago, but we've gone through, as people, certainly in the West, well actually not just the West, but certainly let's take the UK as an example, right? We've gone through 2 or 3 cycles of everybody suddenly went out and got broadband. Everybody suddenly went out and got a smartphone. Everybody suddenly went out and had a laptop, right? All these things that 10 years before you would have said, well, nobody, why would anybody get broadband apart from us nerds? Well, actually, now everybody has broadband. Yeah. They offer very specific very small, very dangerous opportunities for brands. Wearables are even more psychologically intimate than any other technology. Can't be ignored, become part of your body psychologically. The more important that the wearable becomes to you as a person, the more important that any message that comes through it is relevant. And the advertising and brand industry's concepts of what is relevant are, I think, wholly lacking that sort of understanding. Will information that is gained through these devices influence purchases? Yes. Is that information itself influenceable by the brands beforehand? Probably not. And if they tried, it would probably be a backlash against that brand. And I think that brands need to, at a certain time, sometime soon, there'll be a moment where people just get brands to back off certain aspects of our lives.